Beverly Hills.
I'm going to be talking a little bit in code today because if you watch my channel and you watch my live, yes.
Is the plane going down? Are we going to die? Why are you saying I'm salty?
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am the Housewife historian and we are talking Real Housewives of New Jersey. The reunion part 2 last night aired and I wanted to sporadically come on and do a live with you guys this morning. I was on Martinis with Eddie last night live after the Real Housewives of New Jersey aired, so I figured it would be a great opportunity to come on this morning and just chat for a few minutes about what has been going down. Hi Groovy, hey K Mama, how are you guys this morning? I had earbuds ready to go and I couldn't get them paired last night, and then this morning they were dead, so unfortunately I wanted to use my headbuds, but I can't, so we're gonna struggle through this one this morning. Hopefully everyone can hear me good. Hi Arby, hi Monica. I want to chat Real Housewives of New Jersey reunion with you guys, and I want to know what your thoughts were as it pertains to Andy Cohen. You guys got to see it in full swing last night. I want to know what your thoughts are. We're going to talk a little bit about Louis and Teresa and Melissa. And did you guys hear her say, she said, bye-bye, like she did to Jennifer at the Gansevoort. We have to talk about Jennifer Aydin. I feel like she was kind of disrespected yesterday, and I felt for her because on one hand, you know, guys, there was that whole incident in the Gansevoort that took place, right? And we weren't there necessarily, and we don't know exactly what transpired, but we do know that Joe Gorga may or may not have used some derogatory language towards a female cast member. And what would she have to do to deserve to be spoken to like that? If we look at it a situation where it's like he has zero fault and it's her fault, like, do you guys see what I'm saying? It's kind of disrespectful to not even touch it. And I understand that Bravo doesn't like the bad press around it. However, I think if they would have just had Joe apologize to like Bill and Jennifer together as a couple, you know, just to try to lighten it a little bit, and maybe because there's some tension between Bill and Joe Gorga. You can see that. We didn't really get to see it in the narrative or the edit, but if you guys notice, there was tension between Bill Aydin and Joe Gorga. Number one, because Bill Aydin's hanging out with Louis, right? We know that Louis and Teresa and Jennifer and Aydin, they've hung out a lot. The way that Joe Gorga treated Bill after Bill was asked to be in Louis' wedding was really, really disrespectful. They aired all of that. I just feel like I'm not trying to be mean, but I just feel like Bravo has kind of done them a little bit dirty. Like, is it because they know that, like, she doesn't have to be on the show and she doesn't need the income? I'm not sure. But even the footage they showed of Bill when he was like drunk, and I always defend him, when he was like outside on the deck this year, he was drunk and they were like, you know, rolling around on the ground or whatever. And Bravo like used that edit, and then they used that clip multiple times. And we've spoke about, like, Bill is a surgeon, right? So there's no drinking during the week or even on the weekends for him. Likely someone with his level of like job and life in your hands, and he's very busy. He owns his own practice, so I'm sure it's like boom, 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 one thing after another. And I just don't think that him and Jennifer have an opportunity to go out and let loose and drink and have fun. And so are you going to let loose a little bit harder if you only go out once every 6 months and drink with your friends? Absolutely. So I have always encouraged everyone to throw them some slack, and Bravo kind of did them a little bit dirty with that. Another thing, why did Teresa not have any receipts with her about this whole partner Monica situation? We spoke about this yesterday in our live, guys. I don't want to put everyone through the whole history. If you missed it, go check it out. I've done videos on this. You know, Teresa is referencing Joe Giudice's ex business partner. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things. If we go back to season 1, we see Teresa visit Joe, Juicy Joe, at his work, right? And on the door it said G&G, because really Joe's name in Italian is like Giuseppe and it's spelled with a G, right? And so is Joe Gorga's, because he's also Joe, so his first, it's like Giuseppe with a G. Um and so everyone always wondered, was it Gorga and Judice, or was it Judice and his partner's last name? We don't really know. But what we do know is that many times through the seasons, it has been stated amongst even Joe Gorga himself that Joe Giudice took him under his wing and taught him everything he knew about the flipping house business, because it was very lucrative in the early 2000s. If you have someone that is your family, you're treating them like family, right? Because let's not forget that Joe Giudice's family, his parents, actually were very, very good friends with Teresa's parents. They actually drove her mother to the hospital when she was going to give birth with Teresa. That's how good of friends they were, okay? So their family has been friends for generations, basically, at this point. So they've known each other for a very long time. So Joe Gorga, of course, is going to, they're going to be friends. They're going to be brothers. They're going to love each other at first, right? So Juicy Joe takes Joe Gorga under his wing. He shows him the business. If you guys remember, Joe Gorga, he did his first house. It was like in Franklin Lakes, I think, and he sold it for like, he made a huge profit off of it. But again, it was because that was his first house he had did, but Joe Giudice had taken him under his wing previously and taught him everything he knew and probably gave him his connections. Don't you guys think? Because they were young and dumb, and they were in a tight area of New Jersey, and they likely probably all had the same connections in a way, but it would have taken Joe Gorga a long time to probably establish a lot of the connections that Juicy Joe could have just handed him and, introduced him to whatever was going on. So I think that it's important to remember when Melissa is saying, how would we even know him? How would we even know him? Number one, we saw the business partner, the ex business partner's attorney, Monica, 2 different times in 2 different seasons, season 2 and season 3. Okay. I'm sorry, season 3 and season 4. She came on, she was at the Posh fashion show. She was introduced on camera. There's clips of it. She is introduced to Kathy Walkeely and Melissa Gorga, both being Teresa Giudice's cousin and sister-in-law. She openly says, "Hi, I'm Monica. I am the one suing your brother-in-law, suing Teresa, suing Joe, yada, yada, yada." We see that. We also see Monica show up to Joe and Melissa's big Christmas party bash they had. Um, it's been alleged and pretty much stated and verified that it was production and Melissa that actually invited Monica to the party. Monica and Teresa had it out earlier that day, actually, like on the courthouse steps, because they had ran into each other for the first time in a long time since the indictments had come out. And again, Monica, Joe, ex partner's attorney, Monica, who is allegedly responsible for turning over the evidence that resulted in an indictment against Joe and Teresa. So, how would we know them? Well, you would know them because Juicy Joe took your husband under his wing and taught him everything he knew about the business, and likely that meant interactions with his then business partner. If he's showing him the business, you don't think he met his business partner? I'm sure that his business partner is well known in the community. I'm sure everyone knows him. I'm sure he's not just somebody Juicy Joe randomly met. Juicy Joe got in business with him when he was pretty young, so I'm sure that he's part of the connected area as well. And shortly after, Joe Gorga burned bridges with Juicy Joe's business connections. Sorry, guys, I want to put some comments up there for you guys. So, what happens when Monica shows up to the Christmas party? Well, Joe and Melissa, they tried to spin it, and they tried to ask Monica to leave in favor of defending Teresa and Joe. But they invited her, so it was planned. I shared an article yesterday, and it was basically giving a rundown of some of the details about Monica and the financials. And it said Joe and Melissa were brought on to speak about Teresa's financials. Because if you guys remember at the end of season 2, Danielle brings up Teresa's bankruptcy. Go back and remember when they first came on the first couple of seasons, Joe and Teresa were pretty much untouchable. Nobody was effing with them. She was spending cash, buying furniture. Don't you think that production raised an eyebrow too? If everyone thinks that the IRS and the feds raised an eyebrow, you don't think production raised an eyebrow? And what would be the best way to get information and know what's going on behind the scenes with the financials or with Joe and Teresa is but to bring on her family. And let's also remember that Teresa stated herself that Kathy, she was very, very close to Kathy. And that Kathy and Melissa and Teresa were very close up until the time that they literally joined the show and the christening took place. So, this whole time, think about spending time with your cousin and your sister in law, sharing everything that's going on about your life and the show and Jacqueline and Caroline and the brownstone. I'm sure she was talking as like she was in a safe place, right? All the way up until one day she finds out that they have joined the show. Yes. So she had a lot of backstory. The women came on already knowing a lot. But I think that production smelled something because Danielle Staub put them onto it when she said the bankruptcy comment. And who knows what she may have been saying to production afterwards. Let's also remember that Dina left, right? So we were down to just a couple of housewives. We had like Jacqueline, Teresa, Caroline. Um, Dina ends up leaving, but before that, the reason that Dina left was because allegedly a meeting. This is tea, guys. Pay attention right here, guys. This is tea. You don't hear this very often. Allegedly, prior to Dina leaving, and the initial incident that caused friction between Dina and Caroline was actually that Dina and Caroline were at a meeting with production, and production was talking, basically giving the implication like, it's boring. We need you guys to step it up. We need some drama. Like, what's going on in your lives? Yada, yada, yada. And Caroline offered up the information about Danielle going after Dina's then daughter's father and telling him that Dina was like, basically there was an altercation. There wasn't an altercation. There was a discrepancy about Lexi, the daughter, being able to film. And Danielle Staub had allegedly somehow reached out to Dina's daughter's father and caused a dispute for Dina because it became a big deal because then Lexi couldn't film while they were trying to work out everything that was going on. But all of this was happening behind the scenes. And I don't think that they didn't necessarily want production to know that there was an issue right away because obviously they wanted to keep filming as a family with, Dina, Lexi, Caroline, etc. Well, allegedly, Caroline offered up this information, and allegedly, Danielle may or may not have made a phone call to, I don't know, like, I don't know, like, just made some phone calls, possibly, with implications that were untrue obviously, and that's all alleged, of course. But allegedly, Caroline offered that information up to production as part of a storyline, and that pissed Dina off really bad. And that's allegedly why she quit in the middle of the season. If you guys go back, it was stress from her child's father and Caroline and the family and everything. But it was initially that type of situation that took place. So they were all really ready to do whatever it took to bring the drama and make this show a success. And therefore, I think that meant like we have to show some of the extreme. I watched an old shopping episode of Teresa and Dina. They go into the shop and they spend like a couple of $1,000s just on, like jeans and t-shirts and like a little bit of jewelry, no big deal. And it was nothing. And so I think production was like, okay, mama. Yeah, she called Dina's ex. Yes, yes. So anyways, the point the point I'm going back to making is that why didn't Teresa have the receipts of Monica's name she was on legal documents. We spoke about this yesterday because there was business transactions because Juicy Joe introduced them. Joe Gorga, I think, started maybe doing business with Juicy Joe's ex-partner because there was a project where they bought like 10 houses in New Jersey and they were flipping them and they like sold them off. But regardless, Monica's name was on a lot of legal and estate documents, but all the way back to like 2004, 2005. And so those were posted I don't know, a month or two ago on Instagram. And from what I found, they've been to authentic, but it shows Monica, she was a attorney. Some of it she witnessed, maybe she notarized it. Regardless, her name is somewhere on official documents along with Joe Gorga's name. How much more of a correlation do you need? I mean, somebody send it to Andy, and I mean, right there, that explains it. So it's like maybe Teresa's team didn't think about that. Maybe they didn't see the post. Um, I don't know. But I would have loved to have just seen her have those receipts, right? We're seeing receipts come out from Jacqueline. I think that they were posted on All About the Truth. I haven't had a chance to read them all yet, but I think that all of the whole thread of conversation between Jackie Goldschneider and Jacqueline is being put out. It's being exposed. So I'm not surprised by that at all. I'm sure that it's a much different conversation than what we saw at the reunion. And again, a lot of people talking about they felt like it was disrespectful that Andy let Melissa read the entire text message, but yet cut Jennifer Aydin off when she was, speaking about Rachel and their whole issue, which Jennifer's point was that she was trying to give Rachel content to what had happened previously because she didn't think Rachel had watched the show. Then finding out she flipped it to try to make Jennifer look bad as if Rachel already knew because she had this Bravo 1234 fan account, right? And I do think Jennifer did a great job of getting that out. But I thought it was like kind of mean of Andy Cohen to just like cut her off and not let her finish her point. Because she had a very valid point. And he kind of did the same thing when she was talking about the endorsements. And we spoke about this in this other video. Andy Cohen really doesn't let her finish her point, or he doesn't give any validity to it, because here's what's so messed up. It's like, why is Andy Cohen the say all? Like, whatever person he's like agreeing with, or, I don't know. It's like, then all the ladies are like, oh, yeah, 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 he's right, he's right, he's right. Why is he right? Like, what? No, he's not. Is Andy Cohen never wrong? I mean, I don't know. It's just very, very strange, guys. I've never seen a reunion quite like this. I've never seen a reunion. In the beginning of the season, Jennifer was like helping Teresa out when they were like having conversations about the wedding, the bridesmaids, Jennifer, or Melissa, yada, yada, yada. And we didn't see like Jennifer talking for Teresa, but she would just kind of like help Teresa make her point. And people would like got mad about it. If you guys remember, they like let her talk, or Jennifer, you're always trying to talk over Teresa. Do you guys remember that? And Jennifer just kind of quit speaking on it because she didn't want it to look like she was speaking for Teresa, which she wasn't. I think she was just trying to help correlate what was happening. Janet Lee says it was really sad to watch. I think so too. I do too. Yo-Yo says, I'm fuming this morning. I see a lot of talk about the smear campaign against Louis to affect Teresa when the rest of the cast are all doing shady things and deflecting on settlements. I think there was definitely a lot of deflecting going on. I get like mad about the partner stuff, like the IRS and the feds and all of that, because I very much think there's a lot of validity to that. And Juicy Joe, even, it's very rare because the ladies they're on a gag. The ladies are on a gag. They're not allowed to be doing podcasts about the show. They're not allowed to be making social media comments or a post or anything about the show right now. So, I thought it was clever that Juicy Joe came on David Yontev's Behind the Velvet Rope and talked about the legal situation and what transpired between them, and what he had heard after the fact. Why did they ask Rachel Fuda if she had a nanny? I didn't understand that. I was on, if you guys didn't catch, I was on live last night with Martinis and Eddie. You guys should catch it. He has a podcast, YouTube, the works, and we were talking about this, and he's like, literally, he thinks because there was not much more to speak about when it came to Rachel and her storyline, except for like the adoption and her being a new housewife, there really wasn't any more questions for her. So they were like, well, shit, we'll ask her if she has a nanny. Because did you guys kind of see Danielle's face? Because why wouldn't you ask Danielle if Danielle had a nanny? Because you're basically trying to make it out like Rachel's bawling and Danielle's not. Is that the case? I don't know if I think that is really the case or not, but that's kind of how they made it seem a little bit to me. I felt like I thought Danielle did an excellent job of handling herself. I think that I told you guys yesterday, like, even if hypothetically, I don't think she was set up. I think that it had to be said, that it had to be moved along. I think that maybe they should have told her, behind the scenes, that Melissa may or may not know, and they're just not sure. Because then I think Danielle wouldn't have said anything on camera. She would have been like, "It's not my place to bring it up. If Melissa already knows, then this would just make it worse, and it would have been like a whole different storyline going on behind the scenes that we wouldn't have known about, right?" Because if Teresa and Jennifer said, "Oh, Melissa knows," even though Teresa and Jennifer said they did not know that each of them told the other, right? Like, Teresa knew that Louis told her brother because Melissa called Teresa screaming at her. And I told this on Martinis and Eddie. I don't think that it was as easy as Joe Gorga went home to Melissa and said, "Can you believe how sick my sister is?" I don't think so at all. I think Joe Gorga was like, "Give me your phone. Go open up your emails. I'm going to check your GPS. What night is in question? When were you with Margaret?" I think that once he investigated everything and made sure everything was kosher, then he was like, "How dare my sister?" But I think during the time that he's like looking into at Melissa, like, is this true? Is this not true? Could this happen? Could this not have happened? Melissa is deflecting by blaming it on Teresa. See what I'm going to the whole time? If Joe is suspicious, Melissa deflects by saying, "This is bullshit. I will never cheat on you. This is your sister. This is your sister trying to break us up. This is your sister trying to break up our marriage. I would never cheat on you. I've been with you for 20 years. You expect to believe I'm in the car with some guy. Da 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 da. Your sister does this stuff. It's so sick of her. How do you let your sister?" I mean, that's what plays out in my mind. I don't think that a calm, happy Joe Gorga goes home to his wife and says, "Oh, there's a rumor about you making out with this man that we hang out with, that's part of our crew, you know, that you were going out around New York and doing press with Margaret, you know?" And then we hear the ball player comment, you think that Melissa went home after because here's another thing. Melissa's saying that she was going to text her ex. She wouldn't have known if that was in production until they were given the episode. Yes, they get the episodes early. How early? It depends on production, right? Um, they get the episode early. She wouldn't have known if it was going to be in the episode or not. Once she watched the episode and saw that it was in there, she likely had to do damage control because she had to go home. Would you want to go home if Joe Gorga was your husband and tell him that you were drunk on camera talking about texting your ex? He probably said, "I want to see it right now. I want to see the clip that you're talking about right now. What were you talking about?" He probably called people on production and asked them. There was a rumor that when her and Margaret were in New York City doing press, that they had people taking care of them because they were doing press, so they were getting styled, they were getting hair, they were getting glammed. And they'd like gotten rooms sometimes up there because it was easier. And there was like rumors about staff being ordered to like not answer phone calls from the ladies' husbands or like tell them who was in attendance for the press, allegedly. I don't know if that's true or not. It could be, it could not be, but that's just what we heard, that there was like glam people and stylists, and they had like their who was the guy that was yelling at Jennifer? He's their publicist, right? So they had people that were working with them because it was allegedly work stuff. They were out doing press and were out drinking and having a good old time. So there was people taking care of them, publicists, stylists, hair, makeup, yada yada yada. And these people were in the presence of allegedly Melissa, Margaret, and the publicist. And you have to remember the guy is allegedly the publicist's best friend. So Melissa and Margaret, they have a publicist. He was the one in the video that I think he's the one in the, I'm 99% sure that he's the one in the video that's like yelling at Jennifer, because we all didn't know at first what was going on. But that is Margaret and Melissa share a publicist. They probably share a rate too, I swear. And allegedly the guy that this all took place with Melissa is the publicist's childhood best friend, because the publicist likes guys. So Joe Gorga, he's not going to be worried about the publicist if he's a male being out with Melissa and Margaret, because he knows that obviously they're not going to be into each other. But the publicist has a best friend. It's a pretty young thing, a PYT. He's a hot little thing. I feel like Melissa, I don't know. I think Joe was mad about it. And I think that right around the time they probably got that episode was Watch What Happens Live. If you notice, when she goes on Watch What Happens Live and he's like in the audience, um, and he's like saying how they're just laughing off the rumors, ha 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 ha. There wasn't a lot of lovey. Like usually Melissa would be like, listen, I love my husband. I've been married to him for 20 years. He built our house with his bare hands. Like, he's a builder. She would have, like, fed the monster and just built him up and, you know, done her part, right? But she didn't do that. She didn't really do that. They didn't have, I felt like it felt a little like some tension between the two of them, but they had to keep it kosher for the cameras, because if not, it would give validity to what everyone is saying. And this is exactly why Margaret and Melissa have remained such great friends for the cameras. Because it would give validity to the rumors if we saw the crack. And I'm sure after 2 years, they probably aren't really mad at each other anymore. A lot of shit has transpired since then, I'm sure. Melissa just probably knows that she can't trust Margaret, I'm sure. And like we've talked about before, what is Margaret great at? What did she do for 2 years with, her current husband now that she got away with? Like, they were hooking up in cars and stuff. So she knows how to make moves behind somebody's back, because you have to do that when you're cheating. Okay, I'm just saying, you're not out in public making out and pronouncing your love for somebody when you're married. No, you're sneaking around and you have to lie because you're cheating. And if you do that for 2 years, you're gonna get good at it. Just saying. I'm not trying to be mean. Also, guys, I did want to let you know, I'm gonna be doing like a TikTok on this soon, but I went and I was interested in Walmart's like clothing and stuff, and somebody sent me, they were interested in what Margaret had going on as well at Walmart, and so you guys should go check it out. I'm gonna show in a video some of the attire for you guys to see like what Margaret is selling through Walmart. And you might be a little surprised to see that some of the things are pre-owned. I think that it's more of a Kardashian closet type of deal, if you will. Um, but maybe just like not as elevated, because it's Walmart, right? Like, not being mean, but it's Walmart, and the items are like, they're average. They're not overpriced, but they're okay. I don't know. I can't think that they're meant getting a whole lot. Yo-Yo says, yes, Lindsay, there was a story on the Gorga page where they were kissing to deny all the cheating rumors, but you could tell in their faces they had been fighting. Yeah, I'm going to say it's been a rough year for them. It's definitely been a rough year for them, guys. I don't know. I don't even know what else to say about the reunion, except that it just seemed unfair. It seemed biased. I think that Dolores is probably so freaking mad at Frank. Dolores is probably so mad at Frank. I feel I would not want to be Frank right now, because he probably didn't tell her about that scene between him and Joe, right? Behind the scenes. about the whole like little Frankie thing. And if you guys remember, all of the blogs were saying that allegedly at the rumor that there was something brought up about little Frankie and like his employment, and they were like, "Oh, Dolores shot it down, Frank." Yada, yada. And now we see the scene between Joe and Frank behind the scenes talking about it. So again, Frank probably didn't know that was gonna air. They don't always know what's gonna make it to edit or not. So he probably was like, didn't know if it was gonna air or not. Probably thought it didn't. Was praying to God it didn't air, and then boom, it aired. And he was probably like, and again, they probably got the episode a couple of days ago. Like I don't know, a week, 5 days maybe. Um, but yeah, so I just wanted to hop on, guys, and talk briefly about the reunion. I'm going to do a whole video, of course, breaking everything down, but I like to come on and correspond with you guys. I think all of you guys have great points and perspectives, and I love conversating, commenting with you guys. But those are just some of the things that I took home from last night. We're gonna talk more. There's gonna be more, of course. But again, I just wanted to hop on and say hello. Make sure you guys go follow my Instagram, HW Historian with the number 2, my Twitter, TikTok. Hit that like button, guys. 56 of you in the room today. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, turn your notifications on. This is why it's important to keep your notifications on, because I come on randomly to give you guys tea, because when I confirm it, I want to come to you guys to confirm it, and I don't want to set all announcements and days in advance. No, I just come on and give it to you all. So make sure you hit the like button. That helps our channel. Check me out. I was live last night with Martinis with Eddie. So nice. We had fun. I laughed. Like, I don't always have, like, it's always fun, but like I had fun with him, genuinely, like laughed. So that's a really great episode to listen to, because we get into a lot. We talk a lot about stuff that we forgot about, stuff that happened in the trailer that nobody, that took, the thread, the phone call, the assistant. Like, there's a lot more to this season. We're just really kind of being on overload over Teresa and Joe and Melissa. It's just overloading everything. But we get into some stuff that you guys likely forgot, and we're going to talk about that in another video. So you guys have a great day. Hit the like button.